Grinder School, I am Colossos, and in this short video I'm going to replay a $30 heads-up sit-and-go that I've played a couple of days ago. I don't remember this exact match, but I've seen that it is quite long, so I suppose this opponent is going to be fairly decent. I always start off the heads-up sit-and-goes fairly aggressive. I'm raising pretty much any two cards in the beginning, and I will also be c-betting in the beginning. So first hand on, he raised from the big blind. He raised from the button, and I folded 10-3 offsuit the second hand. I have King Jack. So immediately I noticed that he folds out of position and that he raised from the button, which it is indicative of a guy who is fairly who is fairly good, good between brackets. And in this hand I min raised from the button. We get 3-bet, ace-7 suited. It's the first 3-bet. I don't really want to instant fold. We're still 75 big blinds deep, and ace-7 suited in position plays quite well. Out of position, it's a completely different story. I call. The flop comes 3-5-5, actually flop nothing, and I insta fold. The insta fold seems kind of weak, since I do have ace high, but it was his first 3-bet, and I'm trying to always get a read on my opponent in the beginning of a game, and from now on I haven't seen him doing anything out of the ordinary. Here the 5-8, I guess I was thinking about 3-betting him when he raised from the button, but I decided not to. I would have been okay with a 3-bet there with the 5-8 suited. Now ace-9, he raises from the button. I call. I definitely will defend ace-9 offsuit. And the flop comes. We flop top pair, top kicker. In this hand, I am definitely gonna raise for protection. I'm gonna get called by a lot of worse hands, like even pocket fives is probably not even going to fold if I raise here. It seems kind of bluffy also my raise, because what am I truly raising here? So I'm hoping that he is going to do something weird and is going to spaz out. So I'm raising his c-bet here. And also I want to get my image up. I think I've raised every button for now. 7-8, I'm defending. One important thing is, I know in heads-up sit-and-goes it is really hard to play out of position, but when you are folding like even 60% of the time from the big blind versus a button open, you're just throwing money away. He can just open like any two cards and he's gonna be profitable when you fold this much. So you have to defend a little bit wider than you are probably comfortable with, but that's just how the game plays. Here with the 7-8 I defended. He made a c-bet again, so he's pretty much the same style as me. So I'm all keeping this in mind. He 3-bets me again. I have King 9 offsuit this time. I decide to fold. So what I've seen from him so far is all pretty much the exact same way that I would play, which is interesting. So we're gonna see how we can adapt, and how we are going to adapt is probably by being more aggressive than him. I think I will start 3-betting myself quite a bit. If he is anything like me, he will not like to call 3-bets all too often. Here with the 8 king suited, I could 3-bet here. I could have called here. Yeah, 8 king is kind of strong to 3-bet. You kind of turn it into a bluff while it's a very playable hand. So probably I decided to call that one. I also keep in mind that he has been c-betting 100%, so he can't. His range on the flop is going to be really wide. He opens quite a bit, and then c-bets like almost 100% of the time. As you can see, I don't have my stats up and running. Oh, now he folded from the button. I don't have my stats running yet. Normally, when I play heads-up sit and goes, I play them a lot of the time. I play them for fun, but I'm really I'm into getting to know the game. Again, I get 3-betted. I have 6-5 suited. This time I decide to defend with the 5-6 suited, as we are still fairly deep. This is not a turbo heads-up sit and go. This is not a hyper heads-up sit and go. I like to play the regular sit and goes. Reason being is that a lot of the good players went to the turbos and the hypers since they are really popular, and they can put in a lot of more games. And this obviously leaves a lot of bad players at his regular games. And here I decided to do a 3-bet with 6-jack offsuit. If it was suited, I would definitely 3-bet 6-jack suited, since I haven't been 3-betting him yet. 6-jack offsuit is kind of loose, but he's been raising every single time, so I think I am going to up my 3-betting both for value as for bluff. I'm gonna widen my range quite a bit. Well, quite a bit is actually wrong. I'm going to open my range. One of the biggest mistakes that people do in these heads-up sit and goes is they over adjust. You should always adjust in small increments. Don't immediately go from raising 3-betting 20% to 3-betting 40%. Just go from 3-betting 20% of hands to 3-betting 25% of hands, and it's gonna be more than enough to adjust to make life more difficult on your opponent. Okay, the 5-6 suited I defended out of position. I think I will turn on my heads up display, as during the game I thought this opponent was quite capable. He didn't make too many mistakes as of yet. With the ace-4 suited, again, 3-betting. I think ace-4 is way too good to be 3-betting, so I like to make the call there. If you 3-bet ace-4 suited, it's kind of turning your hand into a bluff, and it really plays the ace type of hands really play difficult out of position, as your opponent can put you in some awkward spots post flop. When an ace flops, you don't really know whether you can bet 3 streets since you have no kicker, and when you start checking behind, and I just turned up my HUDs. You can see it will start to come up. And this will be interesting. I think I'm opening quite wide. My normal opening range would be like from in the beginning I always open up like 75% of my hands I will be playing. The hands that I won't be playing are hands like deuce 8 offsuit. Those hands I will fold from the button, like the really crappy 6-3 offsuit, deuce 8 offsuit. Those type of hands, but most of the hands I will open. Since this guy folds so often, I decide to raise the 7 deuce offsuit even from the button. When I decide to check back on the 8 deuce 5 flop, since I do have showdown value, I will never get called by anything worse, and I don't really want to get check raised. Although I don't think that this opponent, I tagged him orange, is going to check raise us as a bluff all that often, since he is playing fairly standard. So since I check, oh, now I folded. That's. I should have at least called once when I check back this flop. Folding seems really kind of weak. That's maybe a mistake there. Four ten offsuit is not a hand I will defend out of position. We get 3-betted again with the 10 jack suited. I believe we are still deep enough to defend here. Again, we flop nothing. We actually don't flop all that much. I believe. At the 8-10 offsuit, it's too weak to be defending. It's kind of, well. It's okay to defend, but we are a little bit deeper. Well, we are less deep now. I think the blinds just went up, and I decided to make a 3-bet here. Flop comes jack. I flop nothing, but I have to make a standard c-bet here. He calls and the 4 comes off. Now the 4s give me a little bit extra equity. That now a 7 is probably giving me the best card. He called on the he called 3-bet, called his flop. So I am prepared here to make a double barrel with the added equity of my gut shot. If like a complete blank would have come off, which didn't help me in any way, like a deuce, I would probably won't probably barrel this. I decide to barrel here, and he decides to fold. And I'm barreling an amount that is easy for him to read, that if I get shipped on, I can still fold and keep somewhat of a stack. And also I am really showing him that probably he realizes that when he ships now, he probably doesn't have any fold equity. So he's never ever going to bluff here. He's rather going to see. He's rather either going to fold or ship. If he calls here, yeah, basically, if we don't hit a 7, we're done with the hand. I can't see him folding on the river when I miss. Four nine offsuit. I didn't raise. It's kind of weird that I didn't raise the 4-9 offsuit from the button. Okay, so we have the stats up running. We're playing, as you can see, quite of a similar style. He's playing, yeah, the stats are switched around. Playing a similar style, 53-44 for him and 62-49 for me. So I'm playing a little bit more hands than him, but like 10%. 8-10 offsuit. This time I decide to defend. I don't decide to 3-bet here because stacks are a little bit more even again, and we are a little bit deeper. If we are a little bit deeper, this means that he is more than likely are going to call my 3-bet, as people don't like to call 3-bets later in the game. He checked behind his flop and then insta-folded when okay, so let's take a look here. When the ace comes off, the chances that he has an ace are really small, since if he had the ace of clubs, he would definitely c-bet this board. So I'm taking my chances here, and we do have equity with the 7 or a club coming off. And if I check on this on the turn here, basically he knows probably that if I check flop, check turn, I don't have anything, and he's going to bet like 100% of the time, and I can't really do anything. So the only way I can win this hand is by betting there. Okay, I like my raise with jack 3 offsuit. Okay, so now I'm looking at his stats, and pre-flop he's playing 50% of his hands. His attempt to steal is less than 70%, which isn't. He doesn't steal all that often. He 3-bets quite a bit, 22%, which is fairly standard. But he's definitely not only 3-betting like aces, kings, queens, and the likes. It just probably is a little bit a wider range than that. So definitely including bluffs in his 3-betting range. But he's playing a fairly good game. Okay, here I decide to check again. As with the 7 deuce, I have showdown value. If he bets now, I am never. I should not be folding. I folded last time. Oh. And I do it again. The thing that probably worried me there is that he betted 90 cents into, well, not 90 into a 120 pot, which was kind of steep. Ace-3 offsuit I am defending versus a min raise out of position. We flop nothing. Again, he bets 90 cents into a 120 pot. So maybe his bet sizing depends on the strength of his hands. Here we flop super open and there's straight flush draw. So I'm betting definitely the turn. We have so much equity. He calls, we completely whiff, so he check called twice. If he has an ace, he's never falling. He check called twice. If he has a flush draw, it's probably worse than, well, he can have a flush draw too, but it's very unlikely. Since he check called twice, he might have something like Jack Queen, who will probably fold if I bet the river, but I think Jack Queen also folds some of the time on the turn. But I was actually I was surprised here that he showed up with bottom pair after I double barreled. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. Jack 7 suited is a good hand to be 3-betting, but he just folds. And the 9-4 offsuit is one of those really weaker type of hands. King 9 raising, pocket sevens. This hand really plays awkward post flop, so I would have liked my 3-bet to be a little bit bigger here, like 220, something like this, just to, if he shoves, I have to think, if he shoves, would I fold? I haven't been 3-betting all that often. I can see myself. How deep are we? I have to make some quick calculations. We're about. No, I would still fold versus ship. We are too deep here. But he followed to my 3-bets. Queen 6. Okay, let's take a quick look at his stats again. So he folds his big blinds to steal 55% of the time, which is, he folds quite a bit. His big blinds to steals 55% of the time. He only defends like 45% of the time. He defends 40%, 50% of his hands. Which is kind of borderline. I'm more of a fan of defending a little bit more, even out of position, just because I can min raise like almost every button, and he will probably fold a little bit often, although 55% of the time seems kind of. Seems kind of okay. I can't really find too many holes in his game. 7-8 offsuit I am defending. 6-3 jack, I flop nothing, and I decide to fold. I don't. I was probably thinking of a check raise. 8-3 offsuit. I folded now from the button. I just want to go back and see if we can see anything from my stats. So I fold my big blinds to steal only 35% of the time, as you can see, opposed to him folding like 55% of the time. My attempt to steal is way higher. I'm stealing practically 90%, and he's folding like half the time, even more than half the time, I believe. So it is really profitable if you think about it, because I'm only investing like 45. It's some easy math. I'm only investing in this case and this stack level 1530. Like for instance, he's investing 45 cents to win 45 cents. So if he is falling more than 50% of the time, he's already losing money just by folding so much of his big blind. Jack 10 I will defend with. Will I 3-bet Jack 10? It's a little bit too good to be 3-betting, and it's not good enough to do it for value. Okay, so on this king high flop I decide to check raise him. He's been c-betting like I'm probably gonna check hit. He's been c-betting almost every single time, yeah, 90% of the time. So he c-bets really a lot, and I haven't been battling that against him. I should have been raising more on the flop, something I should definitely work on my game. But that's we are here to learn. So didn't c-bet. Oh, damn it! Just a second, I lost. Okay, so here we are back. I think I would have liked a c-bet there with the queen high here on the 9-10-10 flop. I decided not to. I don't know, I can't check his stats right now, but I wanted to check his fold to continuation bets, and I probably he folds to did I just check it? If he folds to continuation bet, I believe he did fold continuation bets quite a bit. Here at 3-bet again, 9-6 is a decent hand to be 3-betting here as a bluff. His attempt to steal is only 64% of the time, so he doesn't compared to mine. I'm 90% stealing, so I'm really playing a way more hands than this guy. But this is usually how I tackle these games. I play like a lot of hands, and then people get fed up with me and don't believe that they don't believe me when I actually have something, and they just want to get it in with something mediocre, while I will only get it in fairly good with a decent hand. Here again I have showdown value with the 5, 6, 10. So I decide to check behind. The two previous times I think I kind of made a mistake with by checking behind. I insta folded to a bet from him. Now he does the same again. Obviously now I hit 2 pairs, so I'm not falling, but it's something to work on in my game, that when I checked back for because I have showdown value, I shouldn't be instantly giving up when somebody c-bets into me. So it's something I'm gonna note in my game. I'm definitely raising here with bottom 2 pair. and I'm raising quite big. There's a lot of hands who are going to call me. If he ships, I'm willing to get it in here. He's thinking and he folds. The blinds go up to 2040, so we are about practically 35 big blinds deep. Something like this. 10 king is he's been this is a 3-bet for value with king 10 offsuit. It's a pretty good hand. We flop pretty decent a7 10. I decide to not c-bet this, as I believe I will only get called by better if I c-bet this, and I might get like raised by something that has like 10 jack with the jack of hearts. I don't really want to get into those type of situations, so I'm checking here in a 3-bet pot. The pot is already pretty huge. I don't want to obviously get it in here on the flop, so I decide to play it a little bit weaker here. He checks behind also on the flop. Another ace comes off, so this increases my likelihood that he doesn't have an ace. So I decide to call on the turn, and another 10 comes off. Basically, I am check calling this here. But he decides to check behind, and we win. And he shows up with a jack, 7-8. He probably would have called a c-bet with this type of hand, with his gut shot and a flush draw, 8 high flush draw. But I think I would have liked it. Let's see. Let's imagine that I c-bet here and another ace comes off. Am I going to bet if I bet the turn, then in a 3-bet pot I almost have to get it in on the if he ships when that ace comes off. So I've actually liked my play there with keeping the pot, trying to keep the pot smaller there with a middle pair and no backdoors. Okay, so now we have a bigger stack than him, a little bit. Am I going to adjust my game? I will probably raise a lot of hands right now, just because I have the big stack and I can actually lean on him. He doesn't seem like the strongest player. Here we are, ace jack is like, this is this type of hand that really plays awkward post flop. It's like the ace 4. I don't really like to get called when I 3-bet with these hands. We are about 25 big blinds deep. I can get, yeah, we are 25 big blinds deep, not even that, between 20 and 25 big blinds. So I think shipping here, oh well, I decide to make a 3-bet. Didn't decide to ship in. I think if he ships when I 3-bet there, I'll probably call it off. I think I like, this is interesting. Do I like a ship myself there? We were 25 big blinds deep, 25 big blinds deep. Ace jack offsuit. It's gonna be, yeah. If we do get called by police at 88, we're probably not in that great of a shape. But with the money already invested on pot and the fact that ace jack really plays hard post flop, I don't mind a ship there. I 3-bet it. You always have to be careful that I'm really into looking here with the ace jack at how deep you actually are, because you don't want to ship here like ace jack like 50 big blinds deep, because then you are allowing police at 88 here to play perfectly against you. He will fold all his worst hands, and he will call you with all better hands. So this is something that you don't really want, and this doesn't count anymore when you're playing less than like 30 big blinds, because the money already in the pot justifies your ship. If he has a better hand like ace king in this case, for instance, well, so be it. That's life. But it's borderline kind of 25 big blinds deep. This is about, if it was 20 blinds deep, it's definitely a ship. 25 big blinds deep is borderline. And okay, we are back. What happened here? I'm guessing I raised on the button, and I made a standard C bet, and he folds. He folds his button again. We are almost 20 big blinds deep. Oh, and I start limping. The reason why I'll limp here is that I don't really want to get 3-bet here at this point anymore. Being 20 big blinds deep, I would hate like spending 2 big blinds and him shipping, and then I'm gonna fold. So later in the game, I decide when his stacks is getting low and he's gonna be more inclined to ship it in, I start limping. I don't think I should have limped 7-8 offsuit. But this is also something nice when you play against a guy who is playing like this. He's playing all his buttons. He's folding a lot of out of position. He's got like standard type of sets. It's not a bad idea to start limping. People don't adapt well to guys who limp. They get frustrated by it because they probably don't know how to counteract it. Nine five suited. I don't mind folding. I don't mind 3. Well, at this point, I don't like the 3-bet. I would have fold is fine, because if I 3-bet, I've spent way too much money. If he goes ahead and ship on me, I practically almost have to call it off. Okay, here we flop top pair. He calls. I'm just checking now how much I have to bet here to be able to get it all in there. 160 is probably not going to be enough. Yeah, it says about the pot size bet left, so I bet half the pot. Another 6 comes off, which doesn't really worry me. I don't think he calls a turn with a 6 there. So I'm putting them all in. Oh, and I forget that he actually had 5 cents left, but it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna check what he had, and he had king 5. So yeah, he's kind of unlucky. We both hit top pair, 20 big blinds deep. Basically, when you bet the flop, bet the turn. Yeah, there's a pot size bet left on the river, and he practically has to get it in. So basically, he didn't do anything wrong, and the game is over now. There's a few all-ins because he has 5 cents left. So actually, there's quite a few things we can note from this video. We didn't play perfectly, not at all. If I check back on the flop for value, I should definitely definitely not insta-fold when they bet the turn into me. Another thing is that when I do decide to play quite a few hands out of position, I should maybe look into check raising a little bit more flops. And I do believe that raising a lot of buttons, and I was doing this good, raising a lot of buttons and making him fold like a lot of pre-flop hands was fine. About my 3-betting, I'm pretty happy. I didn't 3-bet all that often in this game. I could have 3-bet a little bit more, But definitely the two things I am going to take away from this video are the not giving up on the turn when you have showdown value and you check behind on the flop, and what was the second thing again? You should write these things down, by the way. Well, I should write these things down, by the way. And the second thing is that I should, if I play a lot of hands out of position, I should maybe check raise some flops or down bet, even look into that. Okay, so this was Colossus for Grinder School. Hope you enjoyed this. See you guys.